happened to that. But hi, it's Sandy Shellis, and welcome everybody to Environmental Coffee House. Farting around with, oh my gosh, what am I not playing with? Welcome everybody, and I've got an interesting night tonight, and it's not just about the fact that we really can't talk to a lot of people about what we know. It's more than that tonight, and I'm going to be reading a little part from Carolyn Baker from her Collapsing Consciously book. And she has a new book, and I have it, of course, but I don't have it with me, so I'm not going to show you. But Carolyn Baker is a phenomenal writer. She really is. And I'm welcoming all of you, trying to get my everything on the desk all put together right. And okay, so I chose Carolyn tonight because, well, first of all, I was not finished with my research for the Bitcoin show. There's a lot there, and so I'm not just gonna hastily throw together something that is, some piece of shit for the sake of doing it. And hi Poppy Davis, hi everybody, hi Rich Diana, hello. So I'm not gonna do that at all. I just don't want to do that. So I had made this decision tonight, and then to not do that. And I have been thinking of doing this for quite a while. And, I hope more people join us. I really do. I thought my new time was okay, but I couldn't do this last night because of, what else? My husband was sick, and we didn't know, he was sick for a couple of days. We didn't know what it was. It's always something. He had a fever, but it turns out he had no fever today. He's fine. He went to work. But it was just, a whole strange thing. Anyway, so, and then I smashed my toe on the bed. We have a big wooden bed. Big, heavy wooden bed, and I was walking across the room, running across the room. I smashed my toe, so the toe next to my pinky toe is killing me. Like I needed that, right? I did not need that, but it's hi Cindy. Hey Gary. Hi Gary. Gary says he doesn't get this too many places, or I open his eyes. Well, sometimes I open eyes, I think, a little bit more than they may want to be opened. That is Gary says he doesn't want to see this in the background. Well, guess what? That's my house. So there you go. All right. So I think we're going to get going tonight. I kind of like the shorter format for me. It helps my back, and it also gets us going, into an in-depth thing. I hope my sound is okay. It's things have been doing weird things today. Technology's always doing weird stuff to me. So let me find this page. This is the book, and I had put a Joanna Macy quote in, and I put the elephant collapsing in every room because this is the chapter name for this. So first we're going to do this, and then I'm going to go through a few graphics of my favorite artist right now, who is Igor Morsky. And then I have a couple of cartoons. I think I hope I added them. I think I could add them. I'm pretty sure I added them by George Sakralidis, who is our guest on Sunday night. So let me get going with her Collapsing Consciously, because even though this is not about jumping from the roof, or the trees and, oh my, it's about being an optimist, or not an optimist, or as we call them down here in the doomosphere, an apocalyptimist. Well, apocalypse, optimist. I've been called an optimist, but I don't think I'm an apocalyptimist. But, it's something that y'all have to ask yourselves. What's your level of optimism? And can you be, is it maybe short-term optimism? Because I sure as shit, I don't have long-term optimism. But here we go. Let's go. Okay. The elephant in every collapsing room. And have discussion about this and really listen. She's a great author. Everyone preparing for collapse, by definition, wants to survive it. We are innately wired for survival. But unless we include the possibility of death in our preparation, we aren't really preparing. I do talk about death a lot. Anyway, we aren't really preparing. It's so easy to disregard death, especially if one is American. As Ehrenreich, oh, hang on a second. Okay, I'm back. All right. As Ehrenreich noted above, our corporate capitalist happy face culture marinates us into positive thinking. Okay, positive thinking. I've been accused of that. Okay, so now that we know who's been accused of positive thinking, last year I stumbled onto an expose of positive thinking by Mark Vernon. The Secret. New Agey mind cure, still pretending that the positive thinking can solve everything. The addiction to a positive attitude in the face of the essentially end of the world, as we have known it, is beyond irrational. It's an obsession that could only be cherished by humans. It is indeed human-centric. As if human beings are the only species that matter. And as if the most crucial issue is that those humans are able to feel good about themselves as the world burns. Scott asked a question about Hambone owning the term apocalyptimist. I don't know if Hambone owns the term, but I'm Hambone's sister, so I can use it. Okay. Usually, having a positive attitude about collapse implies wanting it not to happen and doing everything in one's power to convince oneself it won't happen. This is a uniquely human attitude. If we could interview a polar bear that had just drowned trying to find food because the ice shelves that it usually rested on during the hunt were no longer there, I suspect it would express a very different attitude. Of course, we have the delusional human element who argue that humans are not killing the planet, as if the hairy-eared dwarf lemur, the pygmy elephant, or the ruby topaz hummingbird were responsible. Who else has skyrocketed ocean acidity to exponential levels? Who else is inundating the atmosphere with carcinogens and turning topsoil into sand that contains as many nutrients as a kitchen sponge? And rapidly eliminating clean, drinkable water from the face of the earth. Derek Jensen, in Endgame, states, the needs of the natural world are more important than the needs of any economic system. He continues, any economic system that does not benefit the natural communities on which it is based is unsustainable, immoral, and really stupid. That was from his 7 Stories press in 2006. Explaining the human disconnection from the rest of the Earth's inhabitants, Jensen describes the various layers of resistance among humans to their innate animal essence. That is one of the deeper layers. It's our fear and loathing of our body. That is, our instinctual wildness, and therefore our vulnerability to death, which causes us to distance ourselves from the reality that we, indeed, are animals. Have not all modern societies disowned and committed genocide against their own indigenous? And for what purpose? Not only for the purpose of stealing their land, eradicating their culture, and eliminating so called barriers to progress, but because native people, savages, as a result of their intimate connection with nature, are such glaring reminders of humankind's animal nature. They are embarrassingly uncivilized. Modernity must civilize the savage in order to excise the animal, inculcating in him a human-centric worldview. The consequence has been not only the incessant destruction of Earth and its plethora of life forms, but the murder of the human soul itself. Benjamin Franklin said it best. After returning from living with the Iroquois, he said, "No European who has tasted savage life can afterwards bear to live in our societies." Any person who wants to maintain a positive attitude in this culture, the culture of civilization that is killing the planet, killing all of the people and species that we all love, that person is irrational and deeply afflicted with denial. He is exactly like a member of an abusive family, a family in which physical and sexual assault are occurring on a daily basis, who insists on thinking only good thoughts and represents anyone and everyone who speaks the truth about, he resents, anyone and everyone who speaks the truth about the abusive system. So let's admit two things. Humans are fundamentally animals, right? Yes, we are more than animals, but civilization, with its contempt for the feral, has inculcated us to own the more than and disown everything else. The culture of civilization is inherently abusive, and it is abusive precisely because it has disowned the animal within the human. Indeed, animals kill other animals for survival, but they do not soil, conquer, rape, pillage, plunder, enslave, pollute, burn, and poison their habitat, unlike those more than animal beings who seem incapable of not doing all of the above. Conversely, the more than human creatures respect their surroundings because they instinctively sense that their survival depends on doing so. Civilization, which has never ceased soiling its nest, has also never understood its proper place on Earth. A guest, a neighbor, a fellow member of the community of life. As a result, everything civilization has devised, which is unsustainable, immoral, and stupid, as Jensen names it, is now in the process of collapsing. And we're seeing it before our very eyes. Fundamentally, what all forms of positive thinking about collapse come down to is our own fear of death. That's thanks to civilization's Judeo-Christian tradition and its other handmaiden, corporate capitalism. Humans have become estranged from the reality that death is part of life. Human hubris, gone berserk as a result of tumescent age, uncontained by the natural intimacy with the more than human world, believes humanity to be omnipotent and entitled to invincibility. Therefore, from the human-centric perspective, collapse should be stopped. Or maybe it won't happen. Or somehow humans will come to their senses. Meanwhile, the drowning polar bears inwardly wail for the death of humanity as the skeletons of formerly chlorophyll resplendent Colorado spruce shiver and sob in the icy December wind. Our moral, spiritual, and human obligation is to discard our positive attitude and start feeling the pain. Until we do, we remain human-centric and incapable of seeing the multitudinous opportunities that collapse offers for rebirth and transformation of this planet and its humans and more than human inhabitants. May I remind us we are all going to die. Or as Derek Jensen writes in Endgame, the truth is that I'm going to die someday, whether or not I stock up on pills. That's life. And if I die in the population reduction that takes place as a corrective to our having overshot carrying capacity, well, that's life too. Finally, if my death comes as part of something that serves the larger community, that helps stabilize and enrich the land base of which I'm part, so much the better. Now, I hasten to add that I am not suggesting we select our most negative emotion about collapse. Move in, redecorate, and take up residence there. Feel one's feelings? Yes. And at the same time, revel in those aspects of one's life where one feels nourished, loved, supported, and comforted, and in those people and activities that give one joy and meaning. Had civilization not spent the last 5,000 years attempting to murder the indigenous self inherent in all humans, we would not have to be told, as native peoples and the more than human world do not, that most of the time life on this planet is challenging, painful, scary, sad, and sometimes it's enraging. With what our indigenous ancestors had to sustain them through the dark times was ritual and community. Our work is to embrace and refine both instead of intractably clinging to a positive attitude in the face of out of control, incalculable abuse and devastation. I think she is a marvelous writer. And I really just thought, this is what I'm going to do tonight. This will be the bingo in the evening, Friday night. I wish I could have been finished with my research, but you know what? I think this was just as good. And I think it's important that we respect our elder in the community, Carolyn Baker, and Joanna Macy, and many others. It's the voices are there, but then the problem is how I chose to start this with not being able to talk to anybody is because most people, the rank and file, are not going to buy Carolyn's books, and it's a shame. Because what is that saying? It's a movie, a movie. I think it's Eyes Wide, Shut. It's Eyes Wide Shut. You say I look happy? I'm in pain. I'm moving around because I hurt, but it's okay. As I was telling my friends, pain is my constant companion, and when I go somewhere, I put pain in the passenger seat, and I tell pain, you behave yourself and don't bother me too much today. And there's something in that, in not being a victim. And even though, we suffer, not making that suffering define our life, although it's so easy to want to, and all of us suffer. All of us suffer. Okay. I'm going to show you a few pictures now and say, okay, Kate. Yes, I will. It's Carolyn Baker, and she's. I've been to a her seminar in Boulder, and that's how I met Jennifer. And Hambone had gone, and it was a transformational 3 day seminar, and it was great. It was something that started the reimagining, what I am and who I am, and or it helped me along. Put it that way. It definitely helped me along. Okay, so I said I wanted to go into a little bit of my favorite artist and just show you a few pictures by him. I just really, really like him. And I will show you just for tonight, just some artwork. Here's one that is super interesting. Igor Morsky, and I think I put a link in the show notes, but we don't, we can check them out. Igor Morsky, check this one out. Now I'll get rid of myself for now. This is isn't that surreal, interesting? I love Igor Morsky. He's from Poland. And yes, my audio's become lower, Kim. It's become lower and I can't figure out what to do. I checked everything. Something's going on, and there's always something going on. All right. Thank you for, hard to hear on your end, and I've got everything set up right. What do you think if I do this? Is that any better? No. I don't know if that's any better. You guys tell me. Yes, it's been low, but I'm not going to focus on that tonight. I just want to show you some of Igor Morsky's. If I focus on the technical, I will lose my mind tonight. Igor is surrealistic, and some of his stuff is absolutely just gorgeous. Absolutely. Um, Absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. All right. Yeah, another book to read. Oh, Carolyn is a whole library. Collapsing Consciously is just one of many. She's absolutely amazing. She is absolutely amazing. I don't know if it's louder, but I'm not talking about it. We're not talking about it. So look at this, the way his surrealistic pieces. I just love them. And this one. I was going to use this as my background, but I decided to use the snow, the realism of the shitty weather that's, upon us, going to be upon us and all. But look at his detail, and it's just he's just amazing. Igor Morsky, I love it, and it would be so cool. Of course, it'll never happen for me. I'll never own one of his pieces. That'll never happen. But he is just he's just amazing. So let's 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 see what you guys are saying. Yeah, you're talking about my sound. And there, I guess on Kevin's today, Jim Massa, Science Talk with Jim Massa was the guest, and he had some sound problems. See, it's always something. It is always something. And I don't think it's ever not going to be always something. You know? Oh, that was too busy for you, Poppy. Well, it depends on, your mood. I've had some of his stuff up behind me before that wasn't so busy, and he does a lot of beautiful female stuff. I actually have some stuff by another artist, but I'll save that for another time. I'm going to show you. Okay, let me see. I thought I did this. Why don't you listen to music for a second while I get this? I want to get this other stuff by George. Just show you a couple of his pieces of art. So hang on while I do this because it won't take me that long. I just have to pull it up. He's a writer, and if you hang on a second, I will show you his book. I think one of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world is promote others. This is his book, Disposable Earth. And it's a very short, fast read. He's a biologist, and he will be with Jennifer and I on Sunday night. Well, so I to keep this at 30 minutes, I am going to, I have a closing piece. Hello, Osama. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're feeling well, better. Okay. So basically, I fairly well said everything I wanted to. I mean, how much can we yell from the rooftops? Who's listening? I mean, that's how I wrote it. And you know, the trees are going, so we're not going to be sitting in trees, at least in the Amazon. A lot of places. Lest I be a doomer, but isn't that the truth? I mean, come on. I guess it's the moniker I'm going to hang out. It's not going to be apocalyptimist. But I remember that discussion we had, and I think that Sam made a video on it. All right, guys. Well, we're approaching the half-hour mark, and it's been wonderful to have you. I do have one more thing to end with, and it is a lovely poem. And I'm going to put the music back on as I read this, and then I'll come back and say goodnight. This is a poem by Jennifer Wellwoods. It's called The Taquini Speaks. My friends, let's grow up. Let's stop pretending we don't know the deal here. Or if we truly haven't noticed, let's wake up and notice. Look, everything that can be lost will be lost. It's simple. How could we have missed it for so long? Let's grieve our losses fully like ripe human beings, but please, let's not be so shocked by them. Let's not act betrayed. As though life had broken her secret promise to us, impermanence is life's only promise to us, and she keeps it with ruthless impeccability. To a child, she seems cruel, but she is only wild. And her compassion is exquisitely precise, brilliantly penetrating, luminous with truth. She strips away the unreal to show us the real. This is the true ride. Let's give ourselves to it. Let's stop making deals for a safe passage. There isn't one anyway, and the cost is too high. We are not children anymore. The true human adult gives everything for what cannot be lost. Let's dance the wild dance of no hope. That was good. As always, something interesting, and I thought it was lovely. So listen, guys, you have a very good night, and thank you all for coming. Kate and Kim and Jim and Gary and Stephen. Well, yes, Donna. Good night. Peace out.